Hello students. Today we will discuss about superficial mycosis. Superficial mycosis. Before I start, I want to explain what mycosis is. So mycosis are the group of disease that are caused by fungus. Now these fungus can cause superficial infection, systemic infection, opportunistic infection, and it can also cause subcutaneous infection. Now, superficial mycosis is mainly confined to the superficial part of the body, which is which is hair, nail, and skin. So these are the three part of the body which are mostly affected in superficial mycosis. Now, since superficial mycosis, the most common causative agent or group of causative agents are called dermatophytes. So in this video, we will mostly be discussing dermatophytes in details. Dermatophytes are a group of aerobic fungus that mainly affect the keratinized layer of the skin, hair, and nails. So in the beginning, when I said it affects mostly the skin, hair, and nails, that's because the content of keratin in these areas, the nail, hair, and skin, are more. So these organisms mostly utilizes the keratin that is present and causes infection in those specific areas. There are three major genera present under this family dermatophytes: Trichophyton, Microsporum, and Epidermophyton. So in this video, we will study them in details. And also, we have heard the term ringworm. Ringworm is the common term that we use to describe a superficial infection, mostly of the skin. And the technical term for ringworm is tinea. So there are different types of tinea. So this in this slide you can see there are different types of tinea depending on which area of the body it is present. So tinea pedis. Tinea pedis is the tinea which is present in the foot. So if in the foot between the fingers, if you see a ringworm infection or a fungal infection, it is basically tinea pedis. This is most commonly seen in athletes who are wearing shoes for a very long time, and due to accumulation of sweat, the fungus multiplication and proliferation is boosted, and you see the infection in the athletes mostly. Then comes Tinea cruris. Tinea cruris is infection which affects the groin area. So this again, because of excess sweating and unhygienic practices, the Tinea cruris can happen. Tinea corporis. Tinea corporis happens to the non-hairy part of the body, mostly to the face, and it is mostly caused to people who are handling cats or pets, or they are exposed to the soil. Tinea capitis is the fungal infection or ringworm infection of the scalp. So if the scalp is involved, if you see a fungal infection of the scalp, that could be probably be Tinea capitis. Now coming back to dermatophytes. So dermatophytes can be classified in many ways. First, they can be classified based on whom are they affecting. So there are anthropophilic dermatophytes. So anthropophilic dermatophytes are restricted to human host. That means they cause infection in humans. Zoophilic means they cause infection in the animals like dogs, cattle, horse, birds, etc. Geophilic means these are present in the soil, and they can occasionally cause infection in human as well as in animals. So this is one classification based on their geographical or their distribution in human or soil or in animals. Then there is another way of classifying dermatophytes. Like I said earlier, that they affect the hair, skin, and nails, and depending on which of these three areas, hair, skin, and nails, are affected, the three genera can also be classified. So, if you look at this slide, Trichophyton causes infection in all three: hair, nail, and skin, whereas Microsporum affects the hair and skin. Epidermophyton affects the skin as well as the nails. So this is another way of classifying. Then you can classify definitely based on um, what their host is. If animal is the host, zoophilic. If human is the host, anthropophilic. And if they are found in soil, they are geophilic. Now, coming to the most important part, that is the laboratory diagnosis of dermatophyte. So, laboratory diagnosis of dermatophyte is a huge area to study. First thing is the sample collection. Since hair, skin, and nail are very unusual samples for microbiology, so collection of these specimens should be done by trained technicians. In case of skin, the skin should be scraped. The scraping of the skin should be done, wherein you can take a butter paper and keep it beneath the area where you are going to scrape. You have to wash the area and with normal saline, and then you can scrape the circumference of the infection, so that you can clearly see the lesion. And do not scrape the center part. You should always scrape the circumference. That is where the live fungus will be presenting. Then there is hair. For hair, you have to epilate the hair and send it to the laboratory. For nail, there can be two ways of collecting nail samples, either by nail scraping or nail clipping, depending on where exactly the infection is. If the infection is on the nail bed, you can take nail scrapings. If it is on the outgrown nail, then you have to take small clippings of the nail. And all these samples should be collected in a sterile envelope, paper envelope, and must be sent to the laboratory immediately. Make sure the clippings of the nails are very small, because bigger nail pieces will be difficult for further processing. Then next is the microscopy. Microscopy is the main part, because for culture of dermatophyte it takes a lot of time for the organism to grow. So if you have done your microscopy properly, and if you are able to give a proper preliminary microscopy report, this is very helpful for the physician in course of treatment. So in microscopy we do a KOH wet mount. Now here I have written 10% KOH, but for samples like nail, you need a higher percentage of KOH for the digestion of the tissues. So you can take 40% KOH, and then you can let the sample be digested in that for some time, and then you can prepare a wet mount and observe. If you have a UV microscope, you can also put a drop of calcofluor stain and look it under the microscope. That will increase the sensitivity of the wet mount. Then the culture. For culture, you can use SDA with antibiotics, and you can also use, if you have media available, you can also use dermatophyte test media, which is very selective for only dermatophytes. So that can be used, and it should be incubated at room temperature. Here you can see I've written 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, because it is growing on the superficial part of the body. That means it is more convenient, or and more preferable to grow them under this temperature, because the body temperature will be too high for these organisms. Next is how you identify. So once the microscopy is done, you have some preliminary idea. Once they grow, based on the gross morphology, you can identify them. So macroscopic examination is the first thing. This shows here you what all things you have to record. You have to record the rate of growth. That means the time when you saw the first growth appearing. Then the texture of the colony. Suppose here in this case you see a powdery, white, chalky, powdery growth. Then you have to see the obverse. Obverse means the front part, and then you have to see the reverse. Reverse is the back side. From the back side of the plate also you should see. Why we see back side is because if any pigment is produced, that will be visible from the reverse or back side. Now let's take each genera and discuss their macroscopic examination. So in case of Trichophyton, the colonies are powdery. This is Trichophyton rubrum. You can see the powdery colonies, velvety, and pigmentation will be present depending on the species. So here in this picture I have put for Trichophyton rubrum, and they are known to produce a red color pigment, which you can see in the borders. Microsporum colonies are cotton-like velvety. Here, microsporum, you can see cotton-like colonies here, and then you can see some pigmentation that will be more visible if you look at the reverse of the plate. Then epidermophyton colonies are powdery and greenish yellow. So here it is more yellow, but if you give it some more time, it becomes greenish yellow. So this is the macroscopic examination, and in case of mycology, macroscopic examination plays a very important role in identification. Now, microscopic identification of dermatophytes. So once you have recorded the macroscopic feature of these dermatophytes, next you have to go and look for the microscopic identification. So the main thing that helps in the identification of dermatophytes is the conidia. There are two types of conidia, microconidia and macroconidia. So let me show you what microconidia is. If you see this little teardrop like structures here, these all structures here, these are all microconidia, and this bigger leaf like structures here also you can see these leaf like structures, they are macroconidia. Now you can definitely very easily determine the genus depending on this microconidia and macroconidia. In the first picture you see both are present, micro and macro, and micro is more as compared to macro. So this is a characteristic feature of Trichophyton. If it's the genus Trichophyton, you will see lots of microconidia and very few macroconidia. Coming to the second picture here, this is a picture of a microsporum, and you see lot of macroconidia and very few microconidia. You see microconidia here, some are there, then here some not very clear, but major predominantly you see the macroconidia. Third one, epidermophyton, here you will see only macroconidia. That also the macroconidia shapes are club shapes. You compare the macroconidia shape here and here, so these are more like leaves and these are like club shapes. So here in epidermophyton there is no microconidia, all you can see is macroconidia, that too very different shape of macroconidia as compared to this. So this is the microscopic identification of dermatophytes. So that was dermatophytes, or the most common cause of superficial infections. We will quickly summarize. So dermatophytes are the classes of fungus that causes the infection of skin, hair and nail. Majorly you have three genus: Trichophyton, Microsporum and Epidermophyton. Tinea is the technical term used for ringworm, and depending on the site that it is affecting, we have Tinea pedis, cruris, corporis, and capitis. Then we can classify dermatophytes not only based on genera but also based on their host. So if human is the host, anthropophilic; zoophilic if cats, dogs, cattle, these animals are the host; zoophilic if they are recovered from the soil but occasionally causing infection in human also or animals. Then next you can classify them based on the area they are causing infection. So Trichophyton cause infection in hair, nail and skin; Microsporum hair and skin; and Epidermophyton skin and nail. Then for the lab diagnosis, specimen, skin, hair and nail to be collected, and microscopy to be done using potassium hydroxide. Then culture you can do on dermatophyte test medium or SDA, and then you have to take, after the organism grows, you have to take the record the macroscopic view or macroscopic character, and then you have to do a LPCB, and under the microscope you have to see the conidia, whether microconidia or macroconidia is absent or present. If absent, which one is if present, which one is predominant, and all those things you have to record, and then you can make your final diagnosis. Thank you. I hope you understood dermatophytes. If you have any questions, please post them and I will try to clarify all your doubts. Thank you.